Self-care is paramount. Not that it hasn't always been paramount, but it's definitely paramount in the days and the times that we're living in now. And when I think about self-care, I think about a combination of things that you do that affect the mind, the body, and the spirit. And so this part of the Know Your Rights brochure are the video segments, training segments. I will be going through the manual, talking about what we have here as far as wellness tips and self-care and whatnot, and also sharing some of my personal experiences with my self-care journey and wellness journey. So let's get right into it. So wellness tips. We talk about self-care defined. So self-care defined is the practice of taking an active role in protecting one's own well-being and happiness, in particular during periods of stress. A good place to begin is by taking deep breaths. So yes, deep breaths, I feel during times of stress, during times of anxiety, is a good way to recenter yourself. And it can also be a mindfulness practice. I'm not too good at the deep breaths thing, but I have done it sometimes, and it does help. You basically just breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it, and just let it out. So, and then you do that for a few times, and I do find that it kind of helps soothe anxiety per se, or stress, and especially temporary anxiety or stress. So yes, deep breaths. When we talk about nutrition, rest, and journaling, fuel your body with a healthy, nutritious, and balanced diet, and allow it to recharge each night with enough quality sleep. Expressing yourself through the act of journaling helps control your symptoms and improve your mood by helping you prioritize problems, fears, and concerns. Track any symptoms day to day so that you can identify triggers and learn ways to better control them. So yes, so going back to healthy, nutritious foods and eating, me personally, during times when I am anxious or stressed, I don't eat as well, and I have to remind myself, or I don't eat at all, and I have to remind myself to fuel my body, because the stuff that we eat, it affects your mind and it affects your body. And so remembering, during times of stress and whatnot, for those of you that identify with when you are stressed or you're anxious, you don't want to eat, try to remember to eat something. If it's just a piece of fruit or just a piece of fish or something, whatever your body can handle that's nutritious, that's going to help fuel your body and your mind, give you energy. Because what we eat doesn't just affect the body, it affects the mind too, and how we think, Rest is so important as well. And recently, I have, not lately, but earlier this year, I was having trouble with rest. And as a result, not sleeping caused me to go throughout the day very, almost like I had this fog in front of me. Like I was aware, like I could drive, I could perform my work duties and stuff like that. But it's like I wasn't in the front seat. It was like I was a passenger in the car, And so when you recognize that you're having sleep issues, especially, it's important to recognize them early on. I noticed from my experience, my personal experience, and even people that I talk to, like friends, family, etc., I find that a lot of sleep challenges occur from people not being able to slow their minds down at night. Like your mind is constantly going and you're unable to slow it down. I know for me sometimes, if I have a busy day, the next day, or if there's something I'm dreading or something I'm anxious about, or even excited about in a good way. It's hard for me to slow my mind down enough to go to sleep. And so I think it's okay to recognize, not only recognize, when you're having those sleep issues, but also bring it to a healthcare provider, promptly when you recognize that. And especially when you notice like it's an ongoing pattern, because without sleep, you're no good for yourself, let alone others, but especially yourself. So recognizing your sleep patterns. And then we also talked about journaling in here, not just journaling from a health perspective, but journaling just to vent. I feel journaling is an excellent way to, it's a mindfulness practice. We go throughout our day, and we're just from the one thing to the next without stopping enough to take the time to really write and think about what's on our minds and express ourselves. So I encourage, even myself a little bit more, like to just take, it doesn't even have to take that long. You can set aside 10, 20 minutes out your day. Make it very brief. And you can go back to our previous video, the feelings wheel. You can start off there. And I have the feelings wheel in front of me, actually, this thing here. You can look it up on Google and use that as a basis of where you are mentally. Like if you're happy, hey, write down, hey, I'm very happy today because X, Y, and Z, I got a promotion on my job. My boyfriend took me out, et cetera, et cetera. Or hey, I am feeling dreadful because of X, Y, and Z. This happened today at work and I don't know how to handle it. And I also feel, especially when we talk about our toolbox of things, when I talk about our toolbox of self-care, like it takes more than one thing to achieve like self-care in totality. Like, so when you think about journaling as being one tool in the toolbox, that can be a tool like to where you're writing down every day or every other day to be able to bring to your other tool, your therapist or your mental health professional or life coach, to help draw attention to patterns that may be going on in your life that you may not be aware of just by existing throughout the day. So it's definitely something to journaling, definitely something to it. And I encourage people to just start small, with just the feeling, whatever feeling comes to mind. And if it's a dreadful feeling, I like to end it up in my journaling session with what else is true. And what else is true is usually something that's a positive. So, for example, if I come to the journaling table talking about, I feel sad because, I just don't feel great about myself today. I could also, go into that a little bit and then end it with what else is true. I have my health. I'm able to walk. I'm able to think, correctly. I have wonderful friends and family who love and care about me. I have a great job, all those things to kind of counteract those negative thoughts. So that's just my few takes on that. And so next we talk about practicing safer sex. So here we talk about using condoms not only to avoid the spread of HIV, but also to protect both you and your partner against other sexually transmitted infections and other types of infections. And when we talk about practicing safer sex, condoms is one of the tools in the toolbox, because if you go back to our HIV 101, we talk about PrEP, which is pre-exposure prophylaxis, which significantly reduces the risk of you someone who is not living with HIV from contracting HIV. And then even now, since we've recorded that, which I need to do a video on, we have DoxyPep, so which helps minimize the chances of you contracting certain STIs, not all of them, but certain ones like chlamydia. I think syphilis may be on there. Don't quote me on that. Once I do the research, I'll come back to you and we'll talk about it. But yeah, so utilizing all the tools to help achieve safer sex practice, because that's all a part of self-care too, right? You giving your body to somebody else, or you sharing an experience, you want to make sure you're protected, in whatever ways that looks like for you and what feels comfortable for you and your partner, but definitely you. So the next thing we talk about, getting tested for other STIs. An STI makes it more likely that you can transmit both HIV and other STIs to someone else. STIs can also worsen HIV and make the disease progress more rapidly. And yes, so when we talk about getting tested, I feel like sometimes, this is just my perspective, people approach the idea of getting tested with dread. Because if something comes back, oh my God, what am I going to do? But I also think about it from the way of, this is self-care. And loving ourselves means we do the things that's necessary to take care of ourselves, and prevent things, if something is there, from getting worse, And most things, honestly, most STIs, STDs, if you by some chance contract it, once you're made aware of it, you can do something about it, you can roll it back, you can cure it in some cases. So yeah, it's important to be knowledgeable and aware of where you are health-wise, physically, because sometimes when we let things go for so long, we can cause irreversible damage sometimes. So just staying on top of that. If you're sexually active, getting tested every few months, just to make sure you're okay, And if you receive any type of stigma, shame, or judgment from your healthcare provider, then you probably need to consider looking into other healthcare providers. So there's that. And so prevent infections and illnesses. Wash your hands frequently. I feel like we haven't learned enough from COVID. Like I still see people go to the bathroom, use the bathroom, don't wash their hands, and leave out. And I'm like, I don't I don't understand. I don't understand, given where we were 6 years ago, why, and even now, because there's other things now that are going around, why we aren't washing our hands or carrying like antibacterial spray and stuff like that, so yeah. So wash your hands frequently and limit your contact with sick people to stay as healthy as possible. Also, stay up to date on all your vaccinations to reduce your risk of preventable illnesses. So the flu season is coming up. I think you can get your shot as early as August, which is next month right now in real time. So talking to your doctor about that, what else do we have? Follow doctor's orders about your prescriptions. It is crucial that you take your HIV medications exactly as prescribed by your doctor. Be sure to take medications at the same time every day and always have your medication with you so that if you are away from home, you don't have to miss a dose. And we're going to generalize that. We're going to take it outside of HIV because not everybody watching this may be living with HIV. So when we talk about, following your doctor's orders, I've seen people many a times, they take a medicine, the side effects are too strong, so they just stop taking it. Wrong. Now I'm not going to say it's wrong, but I will say that if you're having issues with medications or side effects that are affecting your day-to-day functioning or your thinking or your life, talk to your doctor. In many cases, even with HIV medications, there's so many different medications that if one doesn't work for you, another one will. So if you're having those side effects or that are just almost debilitating, make sure you reschedule an appointment with your doctor as soon as possible, follow up with them, let them know, hey, this is what's happening, what can we do about this? Because sometimes it can be something as simple as a medication switch, or sometimes it could be something like a medication interacting with another medication that's causing issues, So it's always best to communicate as opposed to taking matters into your own hands and doing what you feel is best with you. Your doctor is a part of your team to make sure you are taking care of yourself, self-care. So they can't provide the optimal self-care or care to you without you communicating what's going on. So talk to your doctor. Don't abuse drugs or alcohol. Avoid illegal drugs and take prescription drugs as directed by your doctor to help protect your immune system. Quit smoking. Stopping all tobacco use will help you live healthier and feel better, as well as prevent a number of health problems and reduce your risk of serious events like heart attacks and strokes. Manage physical and emotional health problems. Keeping stress, depression, and pain under control can help improve your physical and emotional health, making life with HIV easier. See a mental health professional if you feel you're experiencing depression, and be sure to mention that you're taking medication for HIV to avoid potential drug interactions between depression or other medications and HIV medicines. And so lastly, we talk about exercise, mind, and body. Big one. So for me, well, let me read it and then we'll circle back. So physical and mental exercise can keep your mind and your body strong. Regular physical exercise such as walking, biking, running, swimming, and or other activities you enjoy keeps you physically fit and can keep both stress and depression in check while boosting immune system wellness. Mental exercise, doing a daily crossword puzzle or playing brain challenging games can help maintain your cognitive health. So the keys to staying healthy with HIV are within your control. Treat your body well to strengthen it so it can defend against illnesses that could threaten your health. And so yes, I will say for me, part of self-care is part of my self-care routine is definitely exercise. 2 years ago, I made a decision to start taking my health a little bit more seriously because I had made 42 years ago, and then I had I don't want to say a life-altering surgery, but a surgery. And so I think one of the things that concerned me was the doctor was so focused on the amount of blood pressure medications I was on and my size as well. And so I was like, oh yeah, we have to do something as we go into our 40s, as I go into my 40s, I want to live a long, healthy, high quality of life, to where I can sustain myself, and take care of myself. And so I made a commitment to myself to start exercising consistently. And through that and consistency, I was able to drop a significant amount of weight, over the course of almost 2 years. But the exercise piece is just not, I don't just do it for my body, I do it for my mind too. Because while I'm exercising, I do a lot of walking, I do biking, I do my elliptical, I love riding my bike outdoors, and for me, it's a way for me to decompress, especially during stressful times. It's a way for me to meditate, to process, to thank, to be grateful, and so many emotions, honestly, come up for me when I'm walking or exercising, and I'm listening to my music and just vibing out, It helps me put things into perspective a little bit more sometimes. And so, yeah, just finding those things that are self-care to you. Another thing that's self-care for me is creating. People that know the other side of me outside of this, which actually this in and of itself is a form of creating. I love creating. It makes me feel great. It makes me feel great with some of the other stuff that I do to touch people, to make them happy through my creations. And even through this, just sharing my experiences, sharing this information with you and informing people, that makes me happy. And so I think it's just about self-care. It's all about you developing a routine, a practice of things, an assortment, a toolbox of activities, mindful practices that make you feel happy, complete, and knowing what to do in times of stress or in times of sadness. Again, I have to force myself sometimes, but when I do it, like when I'm sad or when I have something on my mind, I create, and it makes me happy. And another thing too, for me, like something I've been doing recently is, I've been purging my closet because I love fashion. And so it's been long overdue, and it has actually been therapeutic, and it makes me happy to be able to just empty stuff out, try things on that I can fit, that look a little differently than what they used to, and when I was a little heavier, and just deciding and planning my future wardrobe. And so I think when it comes to self-care, for the mind, for the body, for the spirit, it's about coming up with things that make you happy, make you feel good, that are healthy for your mind and your body and your spirit. Prayer, meditation, hanging with friends, traveling. Traveling is another good thing, if you can afford it. And if you can't afford it, if you can afford to set aside some money, each paycheck or whenever, life is always lifing. Bills are always going to be bills. They're always coming every month, from month to month to month. And if you use that as an excuse to not go out and see this world, you'll never see this world. And so just taking that time out, taking that time for yourself to just escape, like right now, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to travel, and get out of my normal routine, because you need that. And that in and of itself, getting outside of your own space, it helps reset your mind. Like I always, when I go home to New Orleans, or if I go somewhere else, when I come back feeling motivated and ready with new ideas to continue on and all. So yeah, just again, coming up with those, creating your own customized toolbox of self-care, to take care of yourself, because it's so important, y'all. If you don't do it, nobody else will. And we have to be so intentional about it. We don't realize how the mind, the body, and the spirit it's connected. When you are troubled, how that throws off, your body feels that, it senses it, and so being able to do those things that can help recenter yourself, take care of yourself, or at least ease some of the discomfort or the temporary discomfort you may be going through. Do it. Don't put it off. Don't look to others to do it. Yeah, we have our network of people to go to take care, when we need to talk to friends, family, and whatnot. But I also feel like it's so important to come up with things that are exclusive to you. You have to be able to take care of you. That's something, that's a personal thing I live by, is being able to take care of myself in all the ways, and understanding how to soothe myself during times of uncertainty or sadness, anxiety. Okay? And so I leave you with that. I hope it wasn't too long, and I hope you got something out of this. And so I thank you. And so I will be back soon with another video. So I think after this we have facilities, and then I'll be going into mental health, which I'm really looking forward to. The different types of mental health, like therapist versus psychiatrist versus counselor, and how all of those can sometimes play an important role in mental health care and wholeness. Okay? So I hope you all have a great day wherever you are, or a great night whenever you're watching this. Just have a great one. And I will be with you soon.